Welcome back to another pen talk. Thanks for tuning in. This is a pen that arrived the day after I finished my 400th video. And if it had arrived the day of, if I could have included it in the video, I certainly would have as a teaser. So I saw this pen on Etsy. I follow Chinese Pen, Bobby's site on Etsy. And I just fell in love with this pen when I saw it. So it is now in my possession. The first thing is this is just a different design. A wonderful acrylic, an acrylic that I haven't seen before on other pens, and very tastefully done, except for maybe this roll stop. I'm not a fan of rhinestones and hearts and things like that, but one can easily remove it and have a completely clean design. So you can't fault it for trying, and you can put it on the other way. You know, it slides up and down. It works well. So this unscrews. A little bit over 2 turns to unscrew, and we'll see a nice long section. Slightly thin, but still very nice. We see a number 5 stainless steel extra fine nib with a cat face laser engraved on the nib and some other design features. This pen fits fine in the hand, unposted, and like you would expect from the design, it posts very deeply, very securely, feels fine. It's a fairly light pen, and you know, I find that grip section to be pretty good. I like it. So the other thing we look at is filling mechanisms, and as you would expect, it just unscrews, and it's a classic plastic converter. So one of the things that this pen has is, other than that roll stop and the nib, no metal. So we've seen other designs, and we'll see more of some other designs of pens where there's metal in the section, you know, metal in the barrel, but this is just all acrylic, and I think it's fine because that's kind of the design, that minimalistic design, and how everything flows nicely together. Here we have the pen disassembled. Very few parts to this pen, which is nice. It's a standard number 5 nib. Standard extra fine nib. As you can see, that tipping material, it is fine. Interesting cat face on the laser engraved nib. The other thing I'm impressed with is this acrylic really pops in the light. Got a little bit of sunlight, a little bit LED light. That roll stop is just a really cool addition. Not necessarily a fan of the design motif, but it does work well. Standard plastic converter. And in case I wanted to swap in some nibs, here's like a Jinhao fine nib, which is a great fine medium. And also I have a number of those number 5 stubs. So it was easy to pull the nib and feed out, so that's nice. It looks like it's an assembly, but the assembly doesn't unscrew, so that's the way it goes. So let's take a look at the LED X-ray light. This acrylic continues to surprise me. Just a different, nice combination of colors and pearlescence, and it has some transparency to it. So it's interesting. Nice little plug at the end, which is what you like to see for this turned acrylic. So kudos. Bobby found a nice pen. Take a look at the cap and see how it's put together. There's no cap liner in it, but it's a machined acrylic, and it looks like there's a ledge in there to match up with the section, which is always good to see. And as we found with the barrel, it's just a very nice acrylic. One piece. It's always good to do a comparison. So the pen is as long as the Lamy Safari and longer than an M800, and certainly more substantial than a 78G. So it's not a small pen, but I think ergonomically it's designed very well. Posting, the pen is about the same length as the M800, the Lamy All-Star. I call it a Safari, but Safari All-Star basically same dimensions. So, and of course the 78G I would consider a small pen. The sections of nib certainly run the gambit here. I really like this shape and design. I'm not a fan of the Safari. I like to be able to move my fingers around a lot and feel comfortable up and down the grip and twisting and turning. The M800 has a nib unto itself, and also that a shorter section. So it's thicker but shorter. And of course the 78G is the smallest section of this group, and one that I don't find comfortable for long writing. I'm having challenges writing over the tripod, but this nib is scratchy, something I haven't had in a nib for a while. I looked at the tipping under a loop in it. I can't see anything specific that is giving me that scratchy feedback. I mean, this is definitely a fine line. You put some pressure on the downstrokes, it opens up a little bit and it gets a little bit wet. I mean, I wouldn't call it a dry writer. Sometimes on some paper this nib feels better, but this paper has some texture to it, so you're going to get some feedback. Let's see if we can smooth out the nib. I got my trusty nail polishing board, and we're going to do a couple figure eights here on the kind of the coarse side with, I would say, kind of light pressure. Then we're going to go to the medium side with, again, some figure eights, just some doodling. And then we're going to turn it over to the really smooth side and also do some, and we'll just do a little bit in reverse too. It's always a little bit dry after smoothing because I think it pulls a lot of ink out of the nib. I mean, it's slightly better. You can see some ink that came onto the paper, but it's still not a nib that I'm going to be happy with writing with. So I think it's time to rate this pen. And I'm going to give it an 8.4. The material is a high 9, but the nib is just leaving me unsatisfied. The ergonomics are good, so it's certainly, and you can see I took the cap off posting because that was hitting the tripod, and that wasn't for a good experience. But obviously if you're not writing over the tripod, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, I'm certain this pen could appeal to a lot of people. The material, the resin, the color is certainly unique and eye-catching, and the section is well done. And there is a little step up there, but it's not something that I find troublesome, and it's certainly well away from the nib, so that's holding it up pretty high. So that long section really accommodates a lot of different types of grips. At the price of this pen, I think it's at the high end for this type of Chinese pen. But, you know, again, this is my personal feelings, and I try to show you, my viewers, as much about the pen as I can, so you can make your own decisions. I mean, a lot of times when I write with this nib, it feels just fine, and it certainly does lay down a nice ink line for an extra fine nib. So thank you for watching. May you have many great writing experiences. Explore this phenomenal world of pens that we have an opportunity to experience. Stretch your boundaries, learn different ways of putting ink on paper, and hopefully enjoy that. So we've reached the end. So for now, we'll say bye until the next video. It is a nice green ink.